She's leading the international market research of IMS Learning Private Limited. Her domain experience varies from FMCG to telecom sector as well as education industry. On behalf of LIME and Alumni Relations Committee, I welcome you to Aspire 2020, ma'am. We are delighted to have you here and look forward to having a great, insightful session with you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for that introduction. You have reduced my work. So, how is it going for you? All of you, I'm asking all of you. Uh, with the campus is closed, right?
Yes, ma'am, the campus
So,
is
you are
closed
all
sadly.
attending classes, and so you are all
Yes,
attending
ma'am.
classes from your home, respective home. Any idea when the campus will open?
Ma'am, there's no official communication yet. However, for the PGP2 students, they have been informed to join campus by 2nd January voluntarily. But for PGP1, there's no communication yet.
That's a sad story because the main purpose of MBA here, especially at TAPME, it's a residential program, right? We get to learn a lot of things if we are in the campus. Anyways, then I think in the second year you would be all in the campus. Hope so, right?
And we are hoping for the same.
Yeah. So let me see. So tell me about the people who are joined here in this webinar. So currently, what are your area of interest and like what exactly you are looking for through this session? So people who are interested in marketing, I just want to know how many of you are interested in marketing or market research or something else, or you're confused. So like probably there will be three kinds of people who are attending here. One will be the confused souls, one will be the marketing people, one will be the market research one. So like if you can give me numbers or percentage wise, any idea?
If there's anyone, if there's anyone who wants to go ahead and tell that if they are from the confused soul, or are they the ones who are really sure about getting into market research or marketing, or are they faint ones? So they can unmute and tell, or probably type it in the chat box.
Ma'am, Ambika here. I'm definitely one of those confused souls.
I get you. Actually, I was confused till my last day of placement because I was very much interested in consumer psychology, and I wanted to understand how. Let me see. Somebody has pinged, right? You are moderating, Alisha, the message and all. Then I'm not going to see the chat box.
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
fine?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay.
So Akhilesh has said confused between finance and marketing.
Okay. So, see, I'll start with my story. I was a confused soul. Okay, so I was a fresher and I joined the college, and I had this confusion because I was interested in mathematics and all, and also at the same time I was very much interested in human psychology and how the consumers behave, and so I was confused between HR and marketing. I sucked at finance. Okay. So I don't have any idea about finance. I'm very sorry, whoever has pinged. So between finance and marketing, why are you confused? We can take it offline. But I can talk about marketing and market research and all. So I was very confused. So through this journey of 2 years, I found that I have a flair for writing. I have market research acumen, all those acumen, which I'll describe later on in this webinar. So and then I landed up in this career. So it's good to be confused actually, and it's okay actually. If you are confused, eventually you will find out through this journey of 2 years. So I think we are good to start the presentation. Is it fine?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
I'll share the screen, and the Q&A I'll take at the end. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll share my screen. So yes, the topic is market research career in India. See, the best part of a webinar. You may do all the following without getting caught, right? You can sleep with, you can mute your microphone and you can sleep, no worries. You can watch Netflix, Amazon Prime or Hotstar. You can do Facebook, Instagram or WhatsApp, or you can listen to music. It's up to you how you want to take the webinar. Okay. Uh, okay, chill. Let me take you through this presentation flow. First, the brief introduction of myself, which Alisha has already done. So I'm not wasting time on that slide. Next will be how you can go to marketing through market research, then skills required for market research, then how do market research industry works, what are the career options you have, tools which you need to learn, then entry test by the companies, and market research versus data analytics, because sometimes we get confused between these two, because both of this domain deal with number. And then in the end, I'll talk about the lessons learned in the 2 years and my confusion and everything. Okay. And how you can sail through probably few of the lessons which I've learned in the 5 years of experience in the corporate, which might help you in your corporate world. Okay. Uh, so this, I'm not wasting time. I'm a PGP student from the batch 2013-15. Okay. So see, most of the companies who come for placement for marketing, so they what whichever college, like from whichever institute you pass, they'll give you sales only first of all, because and there are reason also. See, because once you get to know what is happening on the field through sales, then only you will be able to uh, strategize or formulate marketing strategies, right? So you get to know about the customers, how your products are being perceived in the market through sales. That is the main reason why companies will offer a sales role mostly. So whichever company come in the campus placement, be sure that whatever JD is there in the marketing profile, you will have to do sales, and there is no like doubt about it. Um, so there are certain pros and cons about sell. First, I'll talk about the salary, right? Because this is something which, as MBA students, we are all very much interested, because sales, sales, if you see the CTC of a sales profile, it's very high. But there is a catch. There is a high percentage of the CTC is variable pay, which is dependent on your sales target. And it's very difficult to achieve 100% of your target, because they'll set impossible targets for you. I'm not saying that it's not, you won't be able to achieve. Of course you might, if you are very keen and eager to do so, and of course your luck if it's there. But then it's very difficult to achieve the sales target. So the variable pay is slightly, it's a misleading. So the the fixed amount is something which will get credited to your account for sure. So don't go by the CTC of sales, and don't think that, okay, since I'm getting the high CTC, let me join sales, even if you are not interested in sales. That is to say. So second thing is, it's a very stressful job. See, I'm not here to discourage you from joining sales. I'm just telling the pros and cons of sales, of course. So the best part of sales is, yes, you will earn a huge amount of money if you are meeting the target. But in case you are not, then the fixed amount is your salary. And then it is a very stressful job, meeting the target and all, especially towards the month end. It's a stressful one. So there are other two career option through which you can go into marketing. One is market research. It is it is actually open for fresher as well as work-ex people. And another is digital marketing. So, 1 second. So digital marketing, so there are, I haven't talked about digital marketing in the PPT. If you want to make notes, you can, or if you want to like remember, it's fine. So there are certain skills which you will have to gather for digital marketing profile. One is SEO, search engine optimization. Second one is Google Analytics. So there is a competition. It is an international competition. It is very good for enhancing your CV. It is called Google Online Marketing Challenge, GOMC. Probably this year it has already launched. Please check once, okay? And there are certain other courses in Google Analytics which are free of cost, and Google provides that. So if you can get certificates, so if you type in the Google, no, Google Analytics certification and all, you will get it. So if you can complete those certification course, which you have to as a mandate if you are joining GOMC competition. So all these things which help, this will help you in your digital marketing CV. We have different kind of CVs now for different profile. So yeah. So yes, so this might help you. Second is this market research, which I will be talking about. Let's go to the next
Excuse me,
slide.
ma'am.
Yeah, tell.
Sorry to prompt you, ma'am. Can you place the mic a little closer? The volume is a little less.
Yeah, is it better? Shall I repeat the
Yes, ma'am.
skills required
Yes,
for
yes.
digital marketing?
No, ma'am, it
Do you
was
want?
audible, but yeah, the voice is better now, so this works. Thank you.
Okay, okay. So see, I'll just repeat quickly once. One is SEO, search engine optimization. Second is Google Analytics. Okay, and one competition I was mentioning about, one is GOMC, Google Online Marketing Challenge. It is an international competition. Here you need to form groups and participate. Okay, so rest you will find over internet. Okay, I'm not talking about digital marketing. I'll go straight to market research. So what are the skills required for market research? So first and foremost is the analytical ability. So if you like tend to analyze situation or people's psyche, or if you are trying to find out patterns from data or anything abstract, then you are fit for this role. So there are two kinds of market research. One is primary market research, one is qualitative, another is quantitative. So quantitative deals with data, and qualitative is it doesn't deal with data. If you are scared of numbers, then qualitative market research is your profile. Now second one is stronghold in maths and stats, as you have to deal with numbers day in and day out. This is strictly for the quantitative market research. And of course, excellent PowerPoint you will understand once you join the business world. No matter whatever we are taught at the college, these two things, whichever role you are in, be it finance, ops, HR, marketing, irrespective of your profile, Excel and PowerPoint knowledge are two things which you will have to uh, deal with day in and day out. Okay. So there are two types of market research. One is primary research, another is secondary research. So primary research is where you get to know, or where you get to collect the data directly from the respondent or the people who are using your product. Second one is secondary market research, which is you will get to know the uh, data or the insights from the already existing studies or through Google. Like I'll give you an example. So let's say I want to launch a any product you suggest. Let's say hand sanitizer, which is very relevant these days, right? So whether my product will be accepted well by the people or not, for that I need to do a market research, right? So I'll go to the people and ask them that currently what the type of questions would be, like what kind of hand sanitizer you're using now, what is lacking in that product, so that I can kill my competition, right? There are several products in the market in this category, but why will somebody buy my product? I need to find out what is lacking in the current product in order to launch my product, right? So for that, I need to conduct a primary market research. But let's say if I do not have that much it's a budget constraint as well. So let's say if I do not have that much budget to do a primary market research, because going to each and every respondent and then taking the data from them, it's not that feasible, let's say, for me, because of the budget and all. So I can already I can check with the already existing data through secondary market research. So I can Google probably and find out what are the people talking about, their reviews and all, about the current existing product, and then I can make my own decision about my new product, right? So as I was talking about this primary market research, so there are two types of research: qual and quant. Qual is actually done before quant. So if I do not have existing in our language stimulus, so let's say if I do not know the market and I want to know the market, I'll go for a qual research. What I'll do, I'll go to the respondent, I'll take an in-depth interview, try to figure out what they want, or I can go for a focus group discussion. So there will be a group of people who will tell me about their wants and what are their need and what is lacking in the existing product. So this is qual research. Quant research is post I get the stimulus that what is lacking and all, I form a closed-ended questionnaire. So there I will be asking the question and I will give them options which are fixed. And from that options, they have to choose. Let's say from qual research, I get to know that, okay, the current product, which is the current existing product, lacks neutral smell. So there is certain kind of smell associated with the current hand sanitizer, which people are not liking. Maybe some people are liking, some people are not liking. So so my qual from my qual research, I came to know that in the focus group discussion, maybe I came to know that people prefer neutral smell. So probably in the quant study, I will ask them what kind of smell you would prefer, a neutral smell or a harsh smell or scent, something. So these are my closed-ended options, right? This is a quant study. Now I'll tell you something. In corporate world, uh, the career peak or the career prospect of a quant researcher is much better than a qual researcher, because they feel that if you are not good with numbers, then you should not even come into market research. So that's why it's just a prejudice, guys. So that's why the number of quant researchers are more in market research industry, and also the career growth is better than a qual researcher. Though as a qual researcher, there are certain pros. You get to meet a lot of people, you get to interact with people, and you get to travel, of course, because if you're studying, you need to travel a lot. So if you have if you have seen like if you have a vision of having a career with lots of travel and lots of interaction, probably you may opt for qual research. Okay. So this is the basic process flow of a market research in industry. So first is the problem identification, questions which are unanswered. I'll continue my example, which I was taking about the hand sanitizer. So whether my product will be accepted by the market, I don't know, right? So this is my question, which is unanswered. So this is my problem. Then I need to set my business objective, like in terms of sales, of course. So how much market I want to capture, or what will be my sales target? If I'm launching something, of course I would want return, right? Then I need to set time also, like within how many years or within how many months I need my investment to be recovered from the market, right? So uh, it will include the sales target. Also, it will include the timeline. So this is the business objective. Setting the research objective. Now, research objective is what? I need to, so problem identification is whether my people will accept the product or not. Now, setting the research objective is what? Okay, so acceptability, it's just changing of language. So probably you will be answering your problem through your research, right? So both are more or less same. You just have to change the language. So, and add some corporate jargon, because here one thing, probably the people who have work ex, they'll know that we talk in some Shakespearean language, even if we want to like convey something very simple. So especially in front of the client, because you want the client to uh, feel good about the fact that there's money which they're spending has not gone in vain, right? So these are all that people use, corporate jargon and all. So next, fourth step is formulating the TG or the target group. So among what type of people I'm going to convey, I'm going to conduct my service. So normally TG, we have different kind of things. One is age group, one is according to gender. So when I am talking about a B2C product, um, like the people who will be using my product, direct consumers. So there the type of the target group will be according to the gender, according to the age group, according to their income level, and according to their geographical location. But if we are talking about a B2B product, let's say, I'll take one example from my work experience only from telecom industry. So let's say the um, telephone connections that the telecom industry provide to the office people. So the decision makers are the people in the office, are different ones from those who are using, right? Because your company is taking the telephone connections, but actually your employees are using the telephone lines. But then the research will be conducted among the decision makers, because it's a B2B product. So there the target group will be completely different. You will set the target group according to the industry, because different industry will be using your telecom services in a different manner. Let's say a travel industry, for them they will be more into mobile connections and all, but then the IT people will require a more secured ones. So their aspects of using the product will be different. So in a target group, for a B2B, the target group, the setting a target group is a separate, altogether a separate thing as compared to a B2. Did I say B2B or B2C, Alicia?
B2C, ma'am.
Yeah, so yeah, B2B and B2C are completely different, but when it comes to setting a target group, okay? Okay, now the next step is preparing the questionnaire. So it can be both open-ended or closed-ended depending on the study, whether it is a quant or a qual study. Uh, the next step would be the conducting the service. So we'll go and collect the data from people. So there are two types of survey. One is online, where you float the questionnaire and then you ask people to fill it up. Second one is face to face. So currently, um, due to COVID and all, a lot of face-to-face studies have been banned and all. So what happened? Many people lost their jobs in the market because the trend is shifting. So people are changing from face-to-face to online, or maybe from the user data they are getting the analytics. So let's say in a retail market, uh, let's take the name of Big Bazaar or Pantaloons. So if you are buying something, you must have seen that your profile is already there with them, like what type of things you're buying. They have your data, your past data in their database. So from there, they analyze and try to send you promotional SMS or email from their products, right? So next is after the survey, you need to analyze the data and then find the insights from the data. Uh, the questions which and the insight will not be just a random insight. Through insight, we try to answer the questions which we identified as a problem. So initially, where we started, like whether my consumers or my prospective consumers will accept my product or not, that is my question, right? Which I want to answer. So through this entire survey. So from the data, I'll try to figure out whether my product will be accepted by the market. Like I said, see, a qual research is conducted before a quant research. Now, next is where can you work? So there are two types of places where you can work. One is research agencies, which conduct market research for companies. Second one is the companies which already have their in-house market research department. So research agencies, there are several. So I'll name few. Kantar Group. So initially, there were three companies: IMRB, TNS, and Millward Brown. They were three separate companies, but a few years back, three of them they collaborated under one umbrella named Kantar. Next is Nielsen, Ipsos, Fractal Analytics. Deloitte, it is on the agency side. They do recruit people for the research role, but they do not accept freshers. You need to have 2 years of work ex to join the profile in Deloitte. Now, what are the pros and cons in working at a research agency? See, I'll talk about the pros first. So, it's an easy entry for freshers. You get to know the customer psyche across the industry. It's a very good learning platform for a market researcher. And another learning, yes, how to make a perfect PPT. So, by the end of first month itself, you will be able to figure out the difference between a Times Roman and a Calibria. So the font style I'm talking about, and then you will be even the guys. Mostly we say no. That guys they are colorblind, but even the guys they will be able to understand the different shades of colors and all in the PPT. Um, Now, if you have a foreign client, then you will get on-site opportunities to conduct the research or to present your report. And since a market researcher drive the market research agency business, they have a better career prospects within the agency industry. But there are certain cons. Yes, it's the lowest salary. Like out of all the industry, market research industry gives you lowest salary. Usually, what happens is that you get to you have the same salary if even if you are from an IIM or even if you are from GM, you have the same starting salary. Then there are long working hours. So in my 2 years, 3 years of working at the agency side, I was working till 2 to 3 at night every day almost. So yes, there are days when you go home early, but there will be long working hours, which might extend. There are certain people. They have worked. Fortunately, I didn't have to, but there are people who have worked for 48 hours at a stretch. They literally slept in the office and all. But once you move up the ladder, another con is sales become a part of your JD. So this is cons for those who hate sales and who have joined. So there will be many people I have seen that they wanted to run away from sales. That's why they joined market research industry. So this point is for those people. Next is career ladder. So how can you grow in this industry? So first will be the end-to-end research work. Here, day to day, you will be handling all the aspects of market research, starting from questionnaire design to data analysis. 1 second. Let me have water. Sorry. So next is you will be overseeing the research work. So if you are on the agency side, you will be handling a team who will conduct the market research for the client. And if you are at the client side, you will be overseeing the agency's work. One thing I forgot to mention, when you are at the lowest level, that is at the when you are doing an end-to-end research work here, you will be driving the agency who will do the data collection for you. Sometimes there is a separate team in the company, and there are other times the companies will hire an external agency who will collect the data for you. So you will be the contact person. You will drive the agency for or a separate team for data collection. Next is consumer insight. So once you grow up the ladder, first you have to do end-to-end research, then you oversee the research work. Next is you are the consumer insight person. So you will be generating meaningful insight from the data gathered, which would help in the business growth. And the last step is to lead the entire market research industry for a company if you are on the client side, or for an industry vertical if you are on the agency side. Next is if you want to change your profile, then what? There are certain options. One is data analytics. It's a booming sector, of course. And it's an easy entry for candidates with market research experience because day in and day out, we're already dealing with data. So a person from market research industry is welcome in data analytics profile. Next one is the digital research. So here, I'll explain you a bit. So when you, let's say when you visit a website, so at the back end of the website, they'll capture your data starting from your geographical location to from which device you are uh, joining the website, or you are browsing the website and things like that. So what they do, they collect that data, they collect your profile and they analyze and try to figure out who are these people who are uh, joining my, who are browsing through my web pages, or who are seeing my website, for how long they are here, what is their bounce rate, that is whether they are just seeing the website and they are going back or not, those kind of things. So all these things comes under digital research. So here, in order to join a digital research role, the competition which I was talking about, that GeoMC and Google Analytics, this knowledge are very helpful and comes handy when you give your interview for the digital research role. Third one is branding. Next is strategic marketing, media planning, marketing head, business head. So later on in your life, if you want to change your profile, you can join all this. What are the market research tools? Of course, Microsoft Excel. Next is SPSS, Tableau, ClickView. So if you know all this four and then you sit for an interview, it's you have an edge over the others in the interview. Okay. Next is, what are the entry tests conducted by the companies? There are three rounds basically. One is written test, aptitude and research acumen test, mostly MCQs, and case studies, which will test whether you have that research acumen or not. Third one is, second one is the interview. It's a technical and it's purely on the market research subject. So you have a market research book, right? Can you name the book? I hope people have not slept. Huh?
Ma'am, so we have done only marketing management 1 and management 2 up till now, the only subjects that we have covered, not market research as such, and we have followed Philip Cotter for that.
Okay, okay. So,
Probably in the upcoming semesters, we might have a specific subject named market research.
right. So yeah, so that market research book is the Bible kind of a thing when it comes to technical interview on market research. The last round is the interview. It is an HR round. Just they'll ask you about your background and geographical location and your salary expectation, those kind of things. Next is market research versus data analytics. So similarity, like I said, both of the profiles, they deal with number. Dissimilarity is data analytics profile as sales analyst, financial analyst, HR analyst, digital analyst, while data analytics has much wider scope. Market research is limited to marketing area. So the person who was confused between marketing and finance, probably financial analyst is the profile for him. But then I'm not sure, I need to speak more in order to understand about his confusion. Okay, next is tools which you need to learn for data analytics are programming, VBA, SAS, Python. So if you have flair for numbers, and if you do not want to restrict yourself in the marketing area, then probably you can go for the data analytics. And if you have all these tools in your CV, it looks you have an edge over the others in the interview. Okay, so I'll stop sharing and talk about the lessons learned here at TAPME. So can I stop sharing my screen? I'll do that. Okay. So first is, I hope people are all awake till now. Are they? Then I'll just end the slide with the lessons learned and I'll close this before I take Q&A. But I need to know if people are awake or not, because it's a very
Yes,
long
ma'am.
monologue.
We are awake.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, we are.
So yeah, it was a very long monologue. Okay, so and that too without any voice modulation. It was a very flat kind of a thing. Even if I was, if I were at your place, I would have slept off, of course.
And we are used to it.
Yeah,
Right.
so everybody is writing in the chat box that they are awake.
Wow, good. Okay, so I'll talk about the lessons learned. First is TST, TAPME Standard Time. One second, Alicia, I hope you will share the PPT with the attendees, right?
Yes, ma'am, I'll share the PPT with them.
Okay. So yeah, first is TST. Can anybody tell me about TST? TAPME Standard Time. Is it still there?
TST is 5 minutes before the class.
Oh God, is it that true?
That is what my seniors told me. So the class starts at 4 o'clock. You have to consider that it will start at 3:55.
Correct. Actually, initially we used to make fun of TST and all, and we used to attend the classes on time just to avoid a subgrade. Then what happened, when once we joined the corporate world and we started joining meetings on time, especially the client meetings or completing a deadline, and when your boss gets impressed, nothing like that. So TST comes handy actually. How much we make fun of TST, how much we had made fun of TST, but now after 5 years, uh, I can't make fun of TST anymore because it actually has helped me in my career in a way. Attending meeting, like even today, you must have seen that I have joined the session 15 minutes earlier. It's
Yes, ma'am.
it gets in your blood that you have to be punctual no matter what happens outside. You must uh, like stick to your commitments. So TST is something which I've learned. Second is the profile building. So I'll tell about myself. So as I said, I was a fresher, and during the summer placement time, the Placecom people, they were reviewing my CV, and they said, there are just 5 or 6 lines in your CV. Can you add something? I said, what to be added? I don't know. I have given my 10th exam. I have given my 12th exam. I did my engineering. So I have put down all my marks. What else you want me to add? They said, look at the other CVs. And they showed me 3 or 4 CVs. And those were, my God, I don't know what they did in their life, starting from joining an NGO to different kinds of hobbies, the violin, guitar, swimming, cricket, football. These are the common things, of course. But karate, and I don't know, black belt or green belt, white belt, what kind of. They have written like anything and everything. So I didn't know all this. So honestly, I didn't have any clue that there was nobody to tell me that I need to build my profile first before joining a MBA college, or I need to develop my profile in the 2 years. So when I saw the CV and all, one thing I decided that in this 2 years, I'm going to work on my CV. I'll make sure that uh, my CV has no less number of lines than other people by the time I reach the final placement. So I started participating competitions and all. One mistake which I did in the first year was I didn't join any committee. I thought that let me concentrate on studies. But MBA is just not about only studies. So when a company comes to the campus to hire you, they just don't see your accards and all. They'll see your overall personality, how dynamic you are. Because if you're, it's good that you're good at your accards, but then if you're too good in your accards, you could have joined a PhD program or an MTech one and not an MBA. Because in MBA, you have to deal with people in the corporate world. So your personality should be dynamic. It's that doesn't mean that you cannot be introvert, but then being an introvert also, you can have a dynamic personality, right? You can have, you're a human, that you need to showcase by um, having different kinds of hobbies or joining committees and all. So this helped. So in the second year, I participated in market research, brand scan, you must know. So those kind of things I did. So there are certain competitions which I'll talk about. One is one international competition, International Case Masters. It's conducted by IIMA. So conference is the name. You can search in the Google if it's still there, and I think it should be there. Conference by IIMA. So this is something, since it's an international competition, of course, it gives an edge over the others again. Now there is a Mahindra War Room contest. You must know it's very popular among Tapians. Next one is there is a website called mbaschool.com. So if you have flair for writing, you may consider publishing your articles there. So these are few competitions which I can talk about. Next is confidence. Okay, so I'll tell you something.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. Ma'am, so since you participated in these and you also were a finalist in Mahindra War Room in the Southern Zone, I guess. So what was your strategy and how did you go about winning those competitions?
See, first and foremost, I would say, even if you are leading a team, be a team player. So managing people, and so first and foremost, working in a group is you first understand your group mates, try to figure out who is good at what, and then delegate the work accordingly. So let's say if somebody, so I'll talk about GOMC, okay? Google Online Marketing Challenge. There I was the captain of the group and I was the youngest member. And all the people in my group, they had work ex and all. So, and this was done when we were doing our summer internship. Okay. So registering for the event happened before, but the actual competition was during the summer placement. So we were all at our home locations, and they were all like, since they were senior to me in terms of age and all. So it's very, for me it was challenging to make them listen. Though using the word "make them listen" is very rude, but to tackle, you know what I mean, right? To tackle them and telling them what is to be done, to coordinate basically. I'll use the word coordinate. So so that was the challenging one. But yes, once you're friends and all, and you tell them like, okay, let me do this, you do that, or those kind of things, and then coordinate. And also there were conflicts, no? There will always be two people in a group who won't like each other. So then how you make them talk, and then all those kind of things. So apart from the digital aspect, we also got to learn. It was a learning experience how to tackle people, how to coordinate with them, and how to lead basically. So one thing which I learned after all these competitions is to focus on the end objective and not to get not to lose your focus by things like, okay, so yeah, let me not talk with the person I don't like, it's my ego is coming in between, or things like he won't work. Let's leave him. Let us continue working. We'll put his name at the end. These things won't work. Like, so if you know how to tackle people, if you know how to be friends with different kinds of people, then it shouldn't be a problem to reach your objective. So be it like working in an office or winning a competition, it always helps. Because for me, I felt that working in a team, sticking together, matters the most, apart from anything else. So if you can do that, and if you can focus on end objective, then you will win. So for Mahindra War Room, like you asked me specifically, so the strategy and all what worked was, our topic was to I don't remember exact topic, but it was like go to market strategy. We had to formulate some go to market strategy for a two-wheeler, I guess, in a certain geographical location maybe. um, so we did some secondary research. Then there was one person in our team who was very good at making PPT. So, no matter how much merit is there in your presentation, until and unless you present it well, the PPT looks good, nobody's going to see. So yeah, so those kind of things work. Okay. Next is, yeah, I was talking about confidence. So what happened when like I said, since I didn't have WorkX, I was a fresher, and the most of the people had WorkX. I used to feel very low that since I do not know about the corporate world, what will happen. So I used to clear all the rounds. When it comes to the last interview round, I used to like I couldn't crack for the longest period of time. So I was the second last person to get placed from our campus. So of course, it's not a very proud thing to say but yes, when I look back, and when I later on analyzed why it happened, the main reason was I couldn't crack the interview. I completed all the written rounds, the GD and everything, but when it comes to interview, I couldn't. So I learned it in a hard way that yes, people, companies, they don't come to see your knowledge. You might not have know it all kind of thing, but if you are confident about yourself, if you know exactly what you know, what you don't know, if you can showcase that, that works. Your attitude works and not your knowledge. Knowledge, of course, you should have knowledge about things, but know it all doesn't work. So the people with good accords from our batch, I can talk, uh, it was not the case that they got the highest package or they got the best company. No, the people who were smarter, who had confidence, that helped them in getting very good CTC or very good placement. Next is sincerity. So here, sincerity in the corporate world, it's it's not that you work the most, but yes, if you know your job bloody well, and if you're sincere, and if you like I said, um, even for the competitions, if you can focus on your end objective sincerely, then yes, it works. Next is networking. So networking is, like I said, so saying right things to right people at the right time. So if you can connect with people, and if you can say the right thing at the right moment, it works, especially in case of a job switch or growing up the ladder and all. It definitely helps. So I'll tell you something um, about from my experience. So I was placed from our campus at a company called Capital Via Global Research. It was a sales profile. The main reason I was talking about sales and all is, one of the reason was, yes, I was placed at sales company. So after working there for 3 months, I understood that, like I said, I was confused and all. I told you, right? So and by the time we were all placed, IMRB came after all of us got placed. So after working there in Capital via Global Research Institute for 3 years, sorry, for 3 months, I thought that no, sales is not my cup of tea, and I started looking out for job options and all. So there was a very kind lady at IMRB. She was my schoolmate, and she referred me, even though she was working in a different kind of profile, which was considered not so glamorous as market researcher there. She did that, and from there my market research career started. And I remember that somebody had referred my CV. So after that, whoever give their CV to me for referral and all, I immediately connect their CV with the HR. I make sure that their CV reaches the HR, because someday somebody had done that for me. So when by the end of 2 years at IMRB, I had referred 60 CVs. HR was pissed off with me that how come you share so many CVs. I said, see, like, since if people tell me, I cannot say no to them, and I cannot say anything. So obviously it's up to you to evaluate. But if I get something, I'll obviously connect with you. So I did that. Still today I do that. Next is, so this is I call networking. So another thing which I did, because I was very much frustrated that I was not getting placed, and everybody around me were uh, they had a very good placement and all. So what I did, in the last few months of my TAPME, I in LinkedIn I started building up contacts. So I connected with people who are there in the top position in different companies and all. Some people accepted, some people didn't. And then by the end of let's say 6 months or so, I had very good connections. So in my LinkedIn account, through my LinkedIn account, and it is a very good network I built. So for all those people who really want to work on their LinkedIn profile, and it helps in case of job switch, uh, in case of connecting with corporate people for different reason, you not only for job switch and all, it helps building a good connection. So I did that. Next is, last and not the least, is never say die attitude. So if it comes while taking selfie or for my work, I have this attitude: never say die, I don't give up. So yeah, thank you for having me here, and over to you for question and answer.
Thank you so much, ma'am. If there are any questions related to marketing, market research as a career, or anything you want to ask relating to competition or anything specific to TAPME as well, you can ask. Feel free to unmute or you can type in the chat box.
Ma'am Ambika here. I'd like to ask a question. You said that because of COVID now, this um, data collection is all online for primary research. So does that also lead to some kind of, like, is the data genuine that you guys collect? Because like, for example, I remember I was doing this survey for Google, like not Google, sorry, YouTube. Like before the video starts, there are some research questions that they do, and I just fill whatever comes to my mind. Okay, like it's not genuine. So does that is that an issue? Like, how do you deal with that as well?
Actually, the thing is, for online, so there is a con for this. So the main reason why most of the researchers are face to face is because of this, which you said. So so you must be knowing there is a gap that what we think about ourselves and what we actually are. There is a gap, right? So that is not getting captured in the online thing. So whatever makes us feel good, will give it as online. So I will never say that I'm a dishonest person or I'm lying or I lie to people, right? I would obviously mark that I'm an honest, a very good person, I'm the best or something, right? So yeah, so those kind of things are there online. So that's why another trend is here, we take user data. So I was talking about the retail example, right? The big basket. Yeah, big basket is another thing. Big basket or big bazaar. So whatever you are actually buying, people will track that data and not what you are telling about yourself. Any other question?
Any other question, guys?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah, tell me.
As you have spoken about the analytics part, so next thing, I think it has got a very large traction in market research. So going forward from now, like apart from Python or other tools, which are conventional tools, what are the other advanced tools that we can learn from now or something like that?
So those tools which the tools which I mentioned in the PPT, no, those tools are the ones which you can learn. Apart from that, whatever is required, I guess, while working, as per your work, you will get to learn on the job. But these tools are something which you can learn from now.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, are there any other certifications for market research or kind of things?
There is no certification actually, but brand scan. See, one, if you have that name brand scan or any market research competition on your CV, it shows that you are a researcher person. One thing which I did and I forgot to mention is I helped one of the professors with a research paper. So what he was conducting a research on gender inequality, and the topic of the research was, is a female a better or a worse boss than a male one? So how the industry perceive or how the employees perceive. So for that we went to different kinds of people who are in the campus, like who had WorkX, and I asked him it. So it was a questionnaire. So if you can work on any research paper which have this kind of primary research where you collect the data from the respondent, that also helps in enhancing your CV.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Any other questions, guys?
Okay, are we good to close? Then I'll
Ma'am, I do have a
Yes, ma'am.
question.
tell me.
Yeah, ma'am. So basically,
Yeah,
my
Kat.
question is that the competition is increasing day by day in the market, and companies are basically spending less and less on the market research. So, what about the future of the industry, and keeping in mind the automation processes are also coming up? So, what do you think about the future?
Yeah, so actually, it is like you rightly said, it's a very good question. And you rightly said that, yeah, they are changing from this the old method to new one. So, what the current trend is, see, mostly companies they'll have their in-house research teams. So, what they take the user data. So, the trend is now instead of going and asking the people, they take the user data. So market research will always be there. It's not something that it will end one day, because as long as people are buying the product, as long as industry is there, like industry I'm talking about is all kinds of industry, they are there, the research will happen, because we at the end of the day we want to know if people will buy my product, or we want to know if I'm making changes to my existing product, whether it will be accepted by the people or not, right? So the methods might get changed, but the industry will be there, that is for sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
So, ma'am, in the interest of time, I'll invite Aman to deliver a vote of thanks to you.
Okay.
And we'll take up the remaining questions, if any, via mail.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, over to you, Aman.
Thank you, Alicia. First of all, on behalf of TAPME, I would like to thank you a lot for your time and offering such an insightful session to the batch. Ma'am started off with a brief ice-breaking story about her journey at TAPME. The discussion was then taken to the importance of doing sales before marketing, while highlighting the pros and cons of the same. Ma'am then highlighted some alternatives such as market research and digital marketing besides the aforementioned job. Then insights on what are the key skills required for a market research job, such as excellent analytical skills, excellent mathematical, Excel, and PowerPoint skills were also shared with us. A comprehensive breakdown of market research into qualitative and quantitative research with the use of an example of sanitizers was then offered to the batch. To make us understand the topic a little better, ma'am showcased the basic process flow involved in market research. Then she shed some light on both of the career prospects associated with the field of market research. That is either in research agency companies or in-house market research companies. One of the key points covered by ma'am was the advantage of having the flexibility of changing and transitioning our profiles into fields like data analytics after stepping into the field of market research industry. Lastly, ma'am shared all her interesting stories at TAPME while sharing key insights on things like how to work on CV, what's the importance of joining committees, competitions, what's the importance of confidence, and things like these. At last, I would again like to thank you a lot for your time. It was our pleasure to have you here. I'm sure all of the students will be able to implement the learnings gathered by today in the near future. Have a great day and a great